So the man doesn't know himself or knows himself very little, and the woman knows herself very little, not at all. And they're meeting. So what is sex about? Well, it's obvious. It's a shallow encounter, for the most part, designed to generate some kind of pleasure or get some kind of resources because you have an appetite that you don't understand. Okay. Then you have people who are a little more profound and they identify to their emotions. So their emotion becomes their identity. So maybe she shares or he shares what they lived yesterday or a year ago or their trauma, and they gush, and then somebody holds you. And now you have intimacy because you are your emotions. Well, at least it's a little more profound than your average hookup on alcohol. But that's very shallow also. Right? So once again, I want to stress something. Your average person doesn't want to journey within. They don't want to get to know who they are. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for resources. They're looking to compensate. They're looking to feed. And if they're good with emotions, they'll play an emotional card to get that sucker to buy into your bullshit, feel, oh my God, she opens, get a sensation of opening, like an artist can make you feel whatever the fuck they want, or an actor can make you feel, oh my God, this is so amazing. The woman can play that card, the guy can play that card, it creates some kind of emotional connection that's not really there so that you can put your fangs into him and suck. Awesome. This is not a criticism, this is just, okay, but there's another potential that exists, which the two parties have to want with themselves and together. Well, I'm curious to discover who and what I am. Well, that means I got to go into the darkness. The man on his own, the woman on her own, and when they meet together, I have to want to go into the darkness. But when we're talking about the darkness, we're not talking about there's nothing. No, it's full of life. You just can't see you don't have the eye to see in that darkness yet. So it's a world of powers in which somehow, some way you're caught. You can't see up from down, left from right, and you're just, dare I say, a puppet to these powers that are unconscious for you. And these powers reveal a lot about the nature of reality. These powers reveal a lot about the nature of your family, about your relation to the society, the world that you live in. It will just shatter your fantasies about yourself and what you imagine life to be about, because it reveals truth, such a higher level of truth. So people are scared, and rightfully so. So your average woman, what does she do? When she meets a man, she wants to feed. She'll play and manipulate him whatever way she can. But okay, so I've covered this before. What I'm trying to say is that when that woman leaves that encounter, she will not have what she wants. Because what everybody wants is a connection. So it's fine, we can have a physical connection. Sometimes there's nice chemistry at the physical body. It's great, but that's nothing. Sometimes there's an emotional connection. At a certain level, emotions are vast and wide. Maybe 1 or 2 layers of emotion is a connection. Then there's nothing. Then sometimes, people are more mental. They have ideological resonances. So there's an ideological relation. That's great, but that's still not deep enough. There's something greater that wants to meet. Yeah, but that thing is hidden from you. And I'm talking to a woman again, and the man is hidden from him. So how do these two essences meet? And how, let's say I'm a woman and I'm encountering a man who's competent. If all I'm trying to do is hide from myself and all I'm trying to do is hustle that person, first I'm always moving. But the very definition of presence emerges from stillness. Then that presence can be put in intelligent motion that has a direction, but it's not chaotic in the sense it's not going all over the place as a strategy for self-defense. If you follow that, otherwise 5 seconds, hear that again. So once again, if I'm in a relation with a competent man, a man who's interested in me and there's a genuine connection, then as a woman, I must want to be seen. Not always move, always try to hustle, always try to have the upper hand. But like we said, this is a scary thing, especially if from the start what you're really looking for is to feed because you're a drug addict and you just want your fix. So you're not really interested in intimacy or the byproducts of intimacy, which is knowledge of self, knowledge of another, knowledge of the cosmic powers, knowledge of sexual primal powers, etc. I think I'm going to lose most people with this one, but let me just finish this little moment. And I understand this is really not a criticism. I really genuinely understand. All I'm trying to do with all this blabbering about sexuality is to say, listen, there's how modern sexuality, which is not modern, it's just how sex is and has been, and now it's worse than ever, so to speak, or it's more than ever. And I'm saying there's something else that exists. There's another kind of potential. And my field of interest, after having spent time here and not finding what I want within myself and in my dynamics with women, I said there must be something else, and it took me on a journey, and I started to discover this. And for me, that is it's incomparable. It's like water versus Coca-Cola. When you're a Coke addict, you need Coke, you need sugar. You love Coke, you hate water, water tastes bad. But once you start to cleanse yourself, you can never drink Coke again. It's a poison. You drink water, and there's nothing better than water. Gatorade, who wants to drink Gatorade? I'm fucking thirsty. Give me water, not fucking poison. See what I'm trying to say? So again, there's a form of addiction to that way of engaging in sexuality for many reasons. And until one comes to the conclusion or realization, you know what? This hurts me more than anything. And I'm tired of playing this game, and I'm trying to cope. Because I went there and all I'm having is pain. If I win, I have pain. If I lose, I have pain. If it happens okay, I'm dissatisfied. So it's like this is just awkward and doesn't build anything. Doesn't build me, doesn't build her, doesn't build something else. I want more than this. So unless that realization dawns on you, you think this is what it is. I'm like, nah, this is not what it is. There's something else. But the something else is very grand. It's very vast. It's very it's very sacred. And then suddenly, oh, okay, even just hearing about it makes sense. It's like, okay, that's why there's a special relation between the man and woman. Yeah, because there's a sacred exchange that is to be had, not a hustle. It's not one is on one has power over the other. It doesn't mean that a man is not in charge if he's not worthy of being in charge. He is not to be in charge. But what I'm trying to say is that there's a sacredness that happens where nobody's trying to steal from one another. It's the opposite. Both are trying to build, and both are bouncing off of each other to help, because the woman energy facilitates the activation of the man energy, and the man energy facilitates the activation of the woman energy. So they're using each other or dancing with one another to potentize their sexual principle. Well, why you do that? For the sake of having more power and harvesting power and cultivating power so that you can harvest it to create and give birth to something divine. This is. I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like a New Ager, but this is exactly what it is. And New Agers steal that language with their friction bullshit and try to make you believe that's why you want nothing to do with it. I'm telling you what it is. Do I look like a New Ager? We got to always go back to the basics. Do I look like a New Ager, motherfucker? Of course I don't. So just so that we're super clear. And outside of such a sacred space, you always feel blah. Because it doesn't satisfy you. It can be fun because you're overly excited, because you're a kid, because you're a moron, because you have fetishes, because you're mentally obsessed with sex, so you got to come like a champion. Good, but at a deeper level, once you have access to your deeper levelness, it sucks. You want more because there is more. It's your birthright to have more. It's in fact what the relationship with a woman is supposed to be about, is about more. Literally, the relationship with a woman is supposed to be about more. Take him and her put together, it gives more. Oops, new person, more. That's 3 now. Her and 4, 5. And then each one now can do more. That's what it's supposed to do, not less. So what do we find nowadays? Men and women meet, both leave less. Even if you stole her, you are lesser of a man than before. You just don't realize it because you're holding your front. You're less of a man than you were before because you have to steal. The very fact that you steal means you're not full. So the more you steal, the less you have. So anyways, I hope this is, I haven't lost you, but for me this is really basic. And it all starts with the ABC. Well, what's a man? What's your power? What does it mean to be full? And as a woman, what does that mean to have a vagina and a womb, which is obviously a chamber, like it's not complicated to understand. And what does that mean to be penetrated? To receive, in other words. And once we bring this in question, it's like, listen, if we use the analogy of a hand that penetrates, are you going to put your hand, like when I was a kid, we lived in Saudi Arabia, and we lived in some kind of mountainous zone in a compound, and there was all kinds of like, we just hang out outside in nature and rocks and shit like this, and there's like holes everywhere. And over there, there's like snakes, scorpions, the whole thing, all those things that scare the shit out of you, they have it there. And as a kid, the first thing it says, don't put your hand anywhere, because you don't know who lives there, a tarantula, God knows what, right? So as kids, you fuck around, but it's like, would I just put my fist anywhere? No, it doesn't matter what's there. I'm like, but you don't know what's there. Maybe you put your hand in the wrong hole and there's somebody there that eats you, or stings you, or bites you. Are you going to just shove yourself anywhere? Or when you go on vacation, you're going to go to just any fucking hotel? You're like so desperate. So that's the principle of fullness. Fullness as a man is like, well, who am I and where do I belong? Where am I supposed to put myself? Where do I put which hotel am I going to go to? What's up to my standards? What fits with me? And as a woman, if I'm a woman, so what is it to receive? Well, am I going to receive anybody in my house? Because I'm desperate to have a sensation, even if it's a sensation of self-hate, self-hatred, disgust, anything to just fill me. I'm going to fill myself with something just to create in me a feeling I hate myself, I'm disgusting, look at me, I'm horrible, and I feel the stench of somebody in me, and I keep myself busy by being disgusting? Is that like if you're at that state, you need some help? Or as a woman, I'm going to learn to respect my house, make sure that my hotel is nice, clean, proper, optimized, airy, nice breeze passing by, nice light, nice fire, nice couches so the one can exhale, relax. That there's nice fresh water around the compound, inside, running stream, nice facilities. That my home it's a beautiful house. And of course, there's special chambers for special guests. And there's the penthouse suite and whatnot. Fine, but it's like, is that not going to be my priority as a hotel owner? Am I going to let anybody just come into my hotel with dirty shoes, dirty being, just some kind of like disgusting creature? No. This is an inn of one. What are you doing? I don't want you here. You're disgusting. I don't want you to live in me. So this is seldomly spoken about. And I know this. I've spoken with a lot of women in my life, and I'm like, well, you don't get that. That's kind of weird. But look, they don't want to tell you this. They're not going to tell you in the mainstream TV. Sexologists, these fucking imbeciles, will never talk to you about this. New Agers will never talk to you about, listen, as a woman, and guys, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to women through you, okay? You are allowing somebody come inside your house. You understand? So guys, if you don't know this, every time I think I said this story. Once upon a time, I was dating a girl. We broke up. I had a party at my place with a bunch of peeps. It was a great party. She came with her so-called new boyfriend. I didn't notice her. She came back the next day to get some pots and pans because it was a soiree with food, the whole thing. And when I looked at her face, she looked exactly like that motherfucker. I said, motherfuck you, man. You banged that motherfucker, didn't you? I'm like, you look like him now. Because he penetrated her, imprinted her. She looked like her energy field. And I knew that guy. I didn't particularly like that dude. It's irrelevant how I felt about him, but I knew the guy. It's not a stranger. I saw that her, dare I say, her auric field, that means her overall vibe had changed. She was vibrating on something new. Her face was different. She looked like him because she took in his tensions, and he started to live inside of her. I'm like, that ain't the same girl I knew once upon a time. That's that girl I used to know with that motherfucker inside. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. You're disgusting. Because I don't like that dude. Get the hell out of my place. Anyways, do you see what I'm trying to say? So, guys, you should know this. And you kind of know this unconsciously. And some of you know this better. And women, they don't want to tell you that. And they act like they don't have a vagina and the vagina doesn't feel and they can have anything come in and out. It's like because they're disconnected from how they feel. And they like squeeze themselves in their robotic fake personality that's under control and that everything's under control under the jurisdiction of modernity. It's nonsense. When a woman has sex with a guy, she's tainted by that person, and she's tainted physically, energetically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And you as a guy, you better know this. You should know that so that you can recognize a woman who's over-tainted. That's number one. Because you think it's a woman and she's like 15 guys plus something of her ancestors all mixed into one. I don't want to go too far. What I'm trying to say is that as a woman who's learning the science of womanness, well, do I really want to bring anything inside of me? And if a man penetrates me and I become him, well, who am I? Where am I in all of this? Is a woman nothing but a hole? Or there has to be a match between who he is and who I am, and he ignites me. These are deep, complex subjects, but are so basic. And it's so unfortunate that very few people want to talk about this, make it sound like this is weird. I'm like, this is not weird. You should teach this to your children. Instead of teaching them that a man can be a girl, you should teach the basics of what it means to have a penis and a vagina, and the responsibilities and powers of being a man or a woman. And this is the very basics of it. It's the basics of chemistry for all. Chemistry. Alchemia is the basics of chemistry. But you're going to go to a chemistry class in 5th grade and they're going to teach you all this bullshit. And they're going to teach you the basics of polarity, are they? They're going to use words that you don't understand to say penis and vagina. Because you can't say penis and vagina because who knows? Anyways, I digress. I apologize. This is a sensitive subject. All this to say, the man has to discover what it means to be full and where he belongs and what he is to grow and cultivate with his power, and to find the appropriate land that enable him to proliferate and multiply in a healthy, upgraded version or way, or at least keep the standard. It's not anywhere. It's disgusting. And a woman has the polar opposite science. It's like, well, what am I to give birth to? And what's resonant with me? Because in the middle of the darkness, there is the woman, or the spirit of the woman. It's not darkness is empty and is void for eternity. It's like, no, darkness is alive, and there's a dot, and the woman, her essence is at the center of that dot. So it's not nothing. It's nothing because you don't understand what space is. Space is full of potential, birthing potential. We're going to get lost. Conclusion, don't stick your cock everywhere. As a bitch, don't allow any cock to be stuck in you. That's what I gotta say.